Despite being the President of the United States, Joe Biden is facing a potential upset defeat in the New Hampshire primary. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back in with a new video, and today it is time that we talk about the 2024 presidential election. Now, as most of you know, the New Hampshire primary is next Tuesday, and all the focus has been on the Republican side, and for good reason. This is really the last stand of Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis. Well, more so Nikki Haley. Ron DeSantis is, he's at like 6%. But either way, that has been the talk of everyone. Everyone's been talking about the Republican side, and for good reason. But there has been virtually zero talk on the New Hampshire primary for the Democrats, which is kind of surprising because there could be potentially the biggest upset in modern American history. And let me be clear. Joe Biden is more than likely going to win the primary, but when you look at the situation that is developing here, we should be talking about this a bit more. Before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Guys, just for $1 a month, you can join Real American. This is the best way to support the daily content that we all know and love. So I hope and recommend you join the channel today. Now, let's be 100% clear. Biden is still probably going to win the New Hampshire primary by a good enough margin. But the situation is very bizarre, and it could lead to an upset because, for those that don't know, Biden is not on the ballot in New Hampshire. Yeah, he is not on the primary ballot despite being the President of the United States. And why is that? Well, the Democrat Party changed the calendar and it pissed off Democrats in New Hampshire. And Biden is kind of boycotting it because this isn't supposed to be the first primary on the Democrat side. It's supposed to be South Carolina. It's a very petty situation, but it still is happening. And Biden is not actually on the ballot. He is a write-in candidate, but he's not on the ballot. So let's get right into it. Trying to upset President Biden in New Hampshire's primary, Democratic challenger Dean Phillips is running a TV ad across the state comparing him to Bigfoot. The argument being both are hard to find. I'm something of an expert on elusive creatures, a man dressed as Sasquatch intones in the spot. So I challenged myself to find Biden in New Hampshire during this primary season. I thought I was good at hiding. Now, you may find that cringe or like whatever. There are a lot of people not happy about what happened with the Democrat primary because New Hampshire was the state that went first no matter what, on the primary stuff at least. Caucuses a little bit different, but you get the point. Many voters in New Hampshire, they're like, what the hell? It's our tradition, we go first, and you decided to change it because racism? Yeah, that's their reason. They changed the rules, prioritizing voters of color. No. If those voters in South Carolina didn't vote the way you wanted them to vote, you wouldn't give a rat's ass about them. They wouldn't even be in consideration. You just want to control the nomination process. That's what it's really about. And guess what? New Hampshire was Biden's worst state of the first four. He got like 5% in it in 2020. Yeah, 5. He somehow won the nomination after that, but New Hampshire was the state that a lot of people thought he's done. You can't get 5 or 6% in the state and somehow win the nomination. But take a guess, which state saved him? South Carolina. This pissed off a lot of people, especially party officials who said, you know what? Screw you. We're going to do a primary. And Biden refused to be on the ballot. Biden's allies are running a write-in campaign to try and ensure he doesn't lose. So, again, he isn't on the ballot. He is a writing campaign. That's their entire, MO. Like, hey, we're not running technically, but still vote for Biden. And they're doing it because they don't want to even consider losing the state of New Hampshire. Whether or not this is in compliance with Democrat rules, this would be one of the biggest embarrassments that a president ever had, losing the New Hampshire primary. It would. While Tuesday's votes won't affect the numbers of the Democrat nomination fight, it does carry risks for an incumbent with low approvals and nagging worries within his party about his re-election prospects. And that's why they're still putting writing campaign. They do not, at any point, want to lose this primary. It doesn't matter if it counts or not. If they lose the New Hampshire primary, which Dean Phillips' entire campaign is focused on that, Biden is screwed. He will be absolutely embarrassed. If there's one way to get rid of Biden, it would be him probably losing the New Hampshire primary. It's still very unlikely, but remember, Lyndon B. Johnson was a write-in candidate in 1968 in New Hampshire. And he did win by 8 points against, you guessed it, a senator from Minnesota. You cannot make this up. And right after that, he dropped out. This is what I'm trying to tell people. It's still very unlikely, but this is a situation where Biden could lose the primary. And, that might scare Democrats into picking someone else. It's very unlikely, but it has happened before. Biden's challengers also include Phillips, who is a Democrat congressman from Minnesota, and self-help author Marianne Williamson, and both are raising questions about Biden's age and electability that his team would rather avoid. Anything less than a strong finish for the president could hurt, further fueling concerns about his chances in November in a likely rematch with former President Trump. But Biden's supporters in New Hampshire echo his campaign's arguments that he must be reelected to thwart the dire threat Trump poses to the country's core values. I don't really know if that's going to work. That's your messaging? I mean, Dean Phillips is running on the same thing. You can't just say, oh, well, we got to stop Trump. Well, there's serious concerns that many voters have with you, that you may not be able to win this fall. So, you're running on that? Phillips is perhaps Biden's highest profile challenger in New Hampshire. Though he has revamped his message over several months, it has been sharply criticized by his colleagues in Congress. His campaign has faced an often bumpy ride. No voter showed up to one of his recent events he held, leading to deep deadpan to reporters. Sometimes revealed that they don't come, which, it was the weather, it's bad weather, and the next day he did have a pretty large event, so I don't think this is anything, but he still has some kind of, base in New Hampshire. There are some voters that are saying, we're done with Biden. You know what? We're going to give this guy a chance. This Dean Phillips guy, just to try. He's spending money here. He's investing time. And really, he's risking his political career. I would not be surprised if Phillips did crack like 30%. I mean, there are a lot of voters in New Hampshire just not that happy. But again, it's very unlikely Biden loses the primary. But it's still a situation where if he somehow loses the New Hampshire primary, those rumors about like Gavin Newsom, they may be more legitimate than some would think. It's still very unlikely. It's borderline BS, but if there was a reason for them to remove Biden, it would be this. It would be a historical embarrassment of losing the New Hampshire primary. Whether it counts or not, it doesn't matter. It still is a bad look, and frankly does give credibility to Dean Phillips, and may raise more questions about, can this guy even win in November? Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Thank you so much. Godspeed to all of you.